सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत्। अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरते यौपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओमित्येतदक्षरमुद्गीतमुपासीत ओमिति ह्युद्गायते तस्योपव्याख्यानम् उद्दालकोह आरुणिः श्वेतकेतुं पुत्रमुवाच स्वप्नान्तं मे सौम्य विजानीहि ते यत्त्वैतत्पुरुषस्वपिति नाम सता सौम्य तदा सम्पन्नो भवति समपीतो भवति तस्मादेनं स्वपीत्याचक्षते स्वं ह्यपीतो भवति। यत् पुरुष स्वपीति नाम। When this Purusha, when this person gets a name, Swapiti, when he is sleeping, then he is with himself, Sata Somya Tada Sampanna Bhavati. Hey Somya, in the deep sleep state, this person is called Swapiti, Sata Sampanna Bhavati. Then he attains his own self, which is Sat or Brahma. Swam Apito Bhavati. Swapiti Swam apito bhavati. He attains his own self. Tasmadenam swapiti iti achakshate. Therefore, the sleeping person is called swapiti. Swam hi apito bhavati, because he attains or comes to his own self. Kada swapnanto bhavati iti. So, swapnantam me vijanihi iti. You know from me, swapnanta. Swapnantam is the swapna satatvam, that very truth of swapna or the cause of swapna, which is deep sleep. Or swapnantam swapna madhyam, or so swapnant sushuptam. Madhyam chidram, the core of swapna, which is sushuptam. Kada swapnanta bhavati, when this person becomes swapnanta, yatra yasmin kale etanna bhavati purushasya swapsyatah. So the sleeping person, when this is the name of that person. Prasiddham hi loke swapiti, is well known that swapiti, he sleeps. Or that is his name, Swapiti. Gaunam Chidam Namayati. So people also know Swapiti, they call him Swapiti. This is Gaunam Nama. This is a secondary name. Ida Swapiti Uchyate Purusha Tada Tasmin Kale Sata Shat Shabdavachya Prakrutaya Devataya Sampanno Bhavati Sangatah Eki Bhuto Bhavati. When it's called Swapiti, at that time he becomes Eki Bhuta Bhavati, because one with Sat, which is the Paradevata, the Supreme Deity, Param Brahma. So what happens at that time? Manasi Pravishtam, Mana Adi Samsargatam, Jivatvam Parityajya. Because the deity has entered the mind for manifestation of name and form, and Mana adi kritam, mana adi samsarga kritam, because of identification with the mind, etc., that jiva bhavam, the state of being jiva, that was as though attained on account of identification of the mind. Parityajya, because the mind merges in its own cause, which is ignorance, and therefore there is no more identification, therefore no more jivatvam, the state of being jiva. Swam sadrupam yat paramatma satyam apito apigato bhavati. Then, without his any effort on his part, thank God. So this provision Ishvara has kept in our life. Then in deep sleep state, everyone gets united with his or her own true nature. Swam apigato bhavati, he comes to his own self, he attains his own self. Ata tasmat swapiti, then nam achakshate laukikaha. Therefore, the people in the world say Swapiti, he is called Swapiti. He asmat swamatmanam apito bhavati, because he attains his own self. Gunama prasiddhitopi Swatma prapti gamyate abhipraya. The idea is that this name Swapiti of a sleeping person, which is no doubt a secondary name, but it's a well-known name, known among people. So that one also it is evident that, and how come that name is very famous? Because he attains his own self. So Gunanama prasiddhitopi, because the prasiddhi, because familiarity, because the name Swapiti is well known, therefore also Swatma prapti gamyate. From that we come to understand that he attains his own self. Kadam punah laukikanam prasiddha swatma sampatti. How do people know this? The scripture is all right, the Upanishad says Swapiti, but laukikaha achakshate, how do the ordinary people say that? When they use the name Swapiti, there is understanding there that this Jivatma attains his own self. When they use the name Swapiti, that understanding is there. How do they come to understand this? Jagrasham nimittodbhavat udbhavatvat swapasyati ahuhu. Because sleep is a result of the shrama, the exertion that takes place in the waking state. जागृते ही पुण्य पुण्य निमित्त सुख दुखादि अनेक आयास अनुभवात. During the waking state, even in the dream state also, because of the karma, papa punya karma, this jiva has been experiencing the sukha dukkha, pleasure and pain constantly, and thus constantly like a seesaw, now happy then unhappy. And therefore the person gets exhausted with all these different experiences. Basically not because of experiences, reaction to the experiences. He keeps reacting to experience. Harsha and Shoka. And there also, if they were in equal measure, then perhaps it would have been all right. But what experience is this? Dukkham, 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 sukham. Dukkham, 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 sukham. If sukha or happiness came as a rule after dukkha, then no problem. But no such rule is there, and therefore this person experiencing dukkha basically. And sukha comes, then also there is all apprehension, this will go away. Dukkha comes, there is a problem, it will not go away. So, anek ayas anubhavat shranto bhavati, he becomes fatigued, tired, exhausted. Tatasya ayattanam karananam aneka vyapara nimitta glananam. So this karana, the organs of perception and the mind, which are fatigued because of the variety of experiences, variety of unpleasant experiences. Because there is unpredictability, we do not know what the next moment will bring. And therefore, these karanas, these sense organs of perception and the mind, they are fatigued of doing these experiences during the day. Therefore, tesham svavyaparebhyah uparamo bhavati. Therefore, they withdraw themselves from all the vyapara or all the different experiences. Shrutescha shramyatyeva vak shramyati chakshu ityavamadi. Shruti also says. So Bhashyakara's commentary is based on the Shruti. Shranto bhavati. He says because shramyati eva vak shramyati eva chakshu. Based on that Bhashyakara comments. The Jagrat Shrama Nimitto Bhavatvat Swapasya. So Shruti says that this jiva gets exhausted during the experiences in the waking state. I mean, the jiva gets exhausted, the mind gets exhausted, the sense organs get exhausted, and all of them then withdraw themselves. So Upanishad also confirms that there is shrama or fatigue or exertion during the waking state, dream state. Tathacha gruhita vag, gruhitam chakshu, gruhitam shrotram, gruhitam mana iti. Therefore, the speech is absorbed, the eye is absorbed, the ear is absorbed, the mind is absorbed. Ityamadini karanani pranagrastani. The only one who keeps awake during the deep sleep is prana. So figuratively said that prana absorbs all these sense organs of perception, organs of action, mind unto himself. Now going to page 257. प्राणः एकः अश्रान्तः देहे कुलाये यो जागर्ति तदा जीवः समापनोत्तये स्वं देवतारूपम् आत्मानं प्रतिपद्यते. प्राणः ekah ashrantah. With prana, the vital air, ashrantah, untired, unfatigued, unexhausted. Dehe kulaye yo jagarti. In the deep sleep state, the prana keeps awake in the abode of the body. So dehe kulaye, kulaye means abode. It can also mean a nest. So in the abode of the body, prana, the only one who is not tired or not exhausted, continues to function. So the question was raised in the page 256, last line, Karana vyapar abhave sharir nashasya ashankya. But when all the organs of perception, organs of action, all of them cease to perform activities, then sharir nashasya, then this body, which is kept alive because of organs of perception and mind, when they are not functioning, will not this body come to an end? Idhyasanga prana vyapara sadbhavat. Because the vyapara, the activity of prana goes on, therefore nayam dosha. Karnani pranagrastani. All the karnas or sense organs and mind, they are absorbed by the mind, by the prana. Evapi jivasya sat sampattau kim ayatam. Evapi jivasya sat sampattau. When jiva attains his own self, which is sat, so what does it mean? Kim ayatam. What is accomplished by that? Or, as Anandagiri said, Sushupto pranasyapi vagadivat upasamhritatvam ashankyaha. When all the sense organs cease their activities, doesn't prana also do that? Says no, karanani, pranagrastani, all these sense organs are absorbed by the prana. Anyatha mritibhranti syadini bhavaha. If prana also ceased its functioning, then there will be death, definitely. Then prana continues the activities, jivasyapi bahirvyaparasyaridhi. Will not jiva also perform some external activities in the deep sleep state? Says no, na evam karana abhavat, because jiva requires the organs of perception, organs of action, the mind to perform, to function in the world outside. To interact with the external world, Ishvara has given organs of perception, organs of action, mind to jiva. But when they are not there, jiva has no external activity. What is bahirvyapara? Apyatmakantara vyapara apeksha bahi. One vyapara is there of the jiva, that is being absorbed in sat. Other than that, there is no vyapara. ये प्राण एक अश्रांत देहे कुलायो जागृति तदा जीव शमपनुत्तये. This jiva for removal of shrama or exhaustion. Swam devatarupam atmanam pratipadyate. Then the jiva pratipadyate attains his own self, which is devata. Devata rupam atmanam. Of the nature of Sat or Brahma, he attains his own self. Says Anandagiri, nanu sushupte shramapanodhartham na surupavasthanam tat kuta laukiki prasiddhi iti ashankya. Nanu Sushupte Shrama Apanodhartham. Should be a comma there. In Sushupti, all there is the removal of exhaustion. Na Swarupavasthanam. A question. In Sushupti, we say that all that happens is the removal of exhaustion or fatigue for the jiva, not that jiva attains his own self. Suppose you say that. Tat kuto laukiki prasiddhi. Then how do people know? How is it well known to the people that Jiva attains his own self? So, no anyatra. Bhashyakara says, or as the other Tika said, Tada iti karma vyaparo paramadashayam iti. Then Bhashya, Nanyatra Swarup avasthanat Shramapanod dasyat iti yukta prasiddhi laukikanam samhi apito bhavati te. Swarup avasthanat anyatra na shramapanod dasyat. The removal of exhaustion will not happen unless one attains one's own self. So that is where to go to one's natural state. When we heat water, then the water is exhausted, poor thing, is struggling constantly to give up that heat. When water becomes cool, gains its own temperature, natural temperature, then there is no exertion, there is no struggle there. So it is our experience that the struggle comes to an end when a thing comes to its own nature. Until then there is struggle. Whenever there is separation from one's true self, one's true nature, there will be struggle. Like the water also separated from the ocean, it struggles to get back to the ocean. And once the water in the form of river comes to the ocean, then all the struggle has come to an end. So therefore, Swarupa avasthanat anyatra, other than abiding in one's own nature, Shramapanod nasyat, it is not possible that there will be a total removal of the fatigue or exhaustion. Iti, that being the case, upasamharati, iti yukta prasiddhi laukikanam samhi apito bhavati iti. Therefore, it is quite appropriate that people know this person as Swapiti and know that he attains his own nature. So, Anagiri, uktamartham laukika dushtantena spashtayate. Bhashyakara clarifies that with a day-to-day example, illustration. But the other Tika says, line 25, Shramapanaya Sarupavasthanaya iti kutah. What makes you say that the removal of fatigue is only when one attains one's nature? Why? Iti ashange dushtatvad, because that's what we find. So how do we make this statement? The removal of fatigue or removal of exhaustion takes place only when one attains one's own self. On what basis do you make this statement? Drishyate, dushtatvad, because this is what we find in our day-to-day experience. Drishyate, Bhashyakara says, Drishyate hi loke jvaradirogagrastanam tadvirmuke swatmasthanam vishramanam tadvad ihapi syat ityuktam. Drishyate hi loke, this is what we find in our daily life. Jvaradirogagrastanam, a person who has been attacked by the disease in the form of fever, etc. So one who is helped by fever, who is attacked by fever, tad vinirmuke. So then, when one is suffering from fever, at that time one is not in one's natural state, because the natural state of the body is healthy state. So health is a natural state of the body. So when some ailment or disease such as fever, etc. comes, then the body is deviated from its natural state, very uncomfortable. Tan vinirmuke, when that fever or disease goes away, swatmasthanam vishramanam, then body comes back its own natural state of health, and that time vishramanam, there is freedom from fatigue or exhaustion. Tadat iha visyad. Similarly also, it can happen in case of jiva also. Therefore, iti yuktam. So it's quite appropriate that there is jiva comes to his own state, because then only there is shramapanodha. There is the removal of exhaustion or fatigue. Narayana says ayasthanam, but we don't find that ayasthanam, ayasam praptanam. Na kevalam darshanamevatra shrutisya imam arthamaha. Not only this is our experience, but Shruti also says. Or Anandagi also says, Bhudarandika Shrutyalochanayavi Sushupti avasthayam avasthadvajanita shamapohartham brahmanira prapti gamyate. Bhudarandika Shruti alochanayavi. So when you look over this Shruti, Bhudarandika Shruti, Shruti avasthayam, in the state of deep sleep, avasthadvajanita shamapohartham, the shama, the exhaustion, that is born because of the experience in the other two states, waking and dream. Brahma nira prapti, then one attains the nira, means the nest of the nature of Brahma. Ityaha tadyatha. So Bhashyakara says, tadyatha shyenaha va suparno va viparipatya श्रान्तः इत्यादि श्रुतेश्च. तद्यथा श्येनः सुपर्णः वा सुपर्णो वा. Shyen is translated as hawk. Supern is translated as falcon. The Tikakara says Suparna Kshiprashyena. Supern is even a faster hawk. Kshiprashyena. स यथा आहारार्थम विविधम पतित्वा श्रांतः. This falcon or this hawk, aharartham, for the purpose of food, vividam patitva, flying in different directions, shrantah, at the end of the day he gets tired. Then paksho sankochya, then he folds back his wings, swanidayava gacchati, goes to his own nest. Tadya shenova supanova viparipatya shrantah. Viparipatya means vividam patitva. Shrantah, exhausted, goes back to his own nest. Sivevam jiva jagra samapanuttaye sushupnim pratigacchati. Similarly, jiva also, for removal of the exhaustion during the waking state, goes to sushupti or the deep sleep state. That's how the first passage is complete. But even this Upanishad also gives an example. Brihadaranyaka gave an example of how that bird folds up its wings and goes to his nest. This Upanishad also gives an example of a different kind. Uktamevartham drishtantena pradarshaytum sa yatha sakuniri vakyamiri vyasaste. So what was said in the first passage, drishtantena pradarshaytum, for demonstrating that with the help of an illustration. Sa yatha sakuni, the next passage is drishtanta. That's what Bhashyakara says, tatrayamiti. So Bhashyakara says, तत्रायं दृष्टान्तः यथोक्ते अर्थे. In short, the next passage is of the nature of drishtanta to illustrate what was stated in the first passage. Tatreti sushuptivastha uchyate. Tatra ayam drishtanta. Tatra means for the state of deep sleep. This is drishtanta. Next passage says, Sayatha shakunihi sutrena prabaddaha disham disham patitva anyatra ayatanam alabdhva bandhanam eva upashrayate eva khalu soumya तन्मनः दिशं दिशं पतित्वा अन्यत्र आयतनम अलब्ध्वा प्राणमेव उपश्रयते प्राणबन्धनमि सौम्यमनैते. So yatha shakunihi, just as a bird, shakuni is a bird, sutrena prabadha is tied with a sutra, with a thread. So that's what these the hunters do, apparently. There is an example of a hunter who has tied a bird in his own hands, so bird will not fly away. He catches a bird and ties it with a thread with his own hand so that bird cannot fly away. It can fly but cannot run away. Disham disham patitva, the poor bird which has been tied to the hand of this hunter, he flies in different directions seeking release or freedom. Anyatra ayatanam alabdva, does not find any other abode, and therefore bandhanameva upashrayate, he comes back to the place where he is tied. Evameva khalu soumya tanmana disham disham patitva. Similarly, O good-looking one, this mind or the jivatma, disham disham patitva, flying in different directions, namely the waking and the dream states. Anyatra ayatanam alabdva, does not find repose or peace anywhere, does not find rest anywhere. In the waking state, the jiva is struggling. And struggle is to find rest, to find peace. Doesn't find it. Peace seems to come and escape him. So some pleasant experience seems to create the notion of peace or happiness, but that's only momentary. He doesn't find what he's seeking, namely, he's seeking a lasting peace or lasting happiness. Alabdhva, he doesn't find that. Then pranameva upashrayate, comes back to prana, because one prana alone is function. But if prana means Brahman, so he comes back to Sat or Brahman. Prana bandhana is soumya manayati, he is soumya, oh good looking one. Manaha, the mind is, or jiva is prana bandhanam, tied to prana or param brahma. Meaning Param Brahma is the true nature of Jiva. So Tatrayam Drishtana Yathokta Artha, says Anandagiri, Yathokta Artha, in the artha or the meaning that was stated earlier, Jivasya Brahmani Avasthanam. So what was the theme or the primary message of the previous passage was Jivasya Brahmani Avasthanam, abiding in Brahma on the part of Jiva. Tasmin, for that this Drishtanta is there. Vashyakara says, स यथा शकुनिः पक्षी शकुनिघातकस्य हस्तगतेन सूत्रेण प्रबद्धः पाशितः दिशं दिशं बन्धनमोक्षार्थः बन्धनमोक्षार्थी सन् प्रतिदिशं पतित्वा अन्यत्र बन्धनात् आयतनम् आश्रयम् विश्रमणाय अलब्ध्वा अप्राप्य बन्धनमेव उपश्रयते। सः यथा सो स शब्दः दृष्टान्त विषयः शकुनि विषयो वा Shruti sa yatha, sa refers to drishtanta or refers to shakuni or the bird, one of them. In both the places, the word sa can be applied. Shakuni, pakshi, a bird. Shakuni, ghataka, the one who kills this bird, that's the hunter. Hastagatena sutrena prabaddaha, he's tied with his hand. So this bird is tied with a sutra, with a thread, with the hand, in the hand of the hunter. Pashitaha iti, says the Tika, Pashita iti, Pashena Granthi Visheshana Baddha ityartha. So Pasha means Granthi, and therefore is tied with a knot in the hand of the hunter. Disham disham patitva, he is flying in different directions. For what? Bandha moksha san, being desirous of freedom from bondage. Nobody wants bondage. No bird wants to be tied into a cage, etc. also. Held in a cage. So this Kaka Kalelkar writes in one place. There used to be a bird in their home. Once his elder sister came home and she started crying. She said, release this bird, release this bird. This boy says, no, it's my bird. She says, no, you cannot arrest this bird, you cannot confine him, let him go. Bird was let go. But he also felt happy. When he saw the bird flying away happily, this boy also felt happy. This is so good. So, Pashitaha, Disham Disham, Bandhar Moksha, Disanna, Pratidisham, Patitva, flying in variety, different directions, Anyatra, Bandhanat, Anyatra. What is Bandhanat? She says the Tika, Badhyate Asminit Bandhanam, Tasthanam Uchyate. Bandhanam means bondage, or the place where it is tied. So by Bandhanam means here, Badhyate Asmin, that with which it is tied. Means the place where he is tied, that bird is tied. Ashrayam, Ayata means Ashrayam, Vishramanaya. The bird not finding any refuge for freedom from his fatigue or exhaustion. So flying in different directions, ultimately the bird gets tired. Wants a resting place. So where it can rest and become free from his fatigue. Alabdva doesn't find it anywhere in the sky. Aprapya bandhanameva upashrayate. Then comes back to the place where he is tied. So and he aprapya iti vishramanaya alabdva aprapya iti chedaha. Not attain, not gaining. Then Bhashyakara continues. Evameva yathayam drishtantah khalo he soumya tanmanaha tatra kritam shosakalam annopasitam manaha निर्धारितं तत्प्रविष्टः तत्स्थः तदुपलक्षितो जीवः तन्मनः इति निर्दिश्यते मंचाक्रोशवत्. Evameva, that is Shruti word, meaning Ythayam Drishtantah, as this Drishtanta illustration is. Khalu he Somya, O good looking one, Tan Manaha, Tat Manaha. Tat means that is under discussion. That mind, which mind? Bhashyaka reminds us, Prakrutam under discussion. Shurshakalam, having the 16 kalas or 16 digits, 16 units of energy, and no pachitam, which was nourished by the mind. Mana nirdhayatam, this was what was asserted in the previous discussion. Tat pravishta. So Jivatma is called Manaha here. Even though the Shruti uses the word Manaha or mind, it means Jivatma. What? Tat pravishta. That Paradevata, the Supreme Deity, had entered the mind for the purpose of the manifestation of names and forms. Not only it entered, Tatsthaha, and one who obtains that, meaning identified with the mind. Therefore, Tadupalakshitaha Jivaha. So Jiva, who is entered and identified with the mind, is what is meant by, or what is implied, Upalakshita implied by the word Manaha. So by the word Manaha, the Shruti means the Jivatma, the reflected consciousness. Consciousness that entered the mind as Jiva for the purpose of manifestation of name and form. The consciousness that got identified with Jiva. Therefore, that very consciousness or the Atma or the self is indicated here by the word Jiva. So rather than saying Atma or Jiva, it says Manaha. So by the word mind is meant here Jiva. See the Tika. Manas Shabdena Jivopalakshane Sambandhamaha. Why do you say that? By the word is implied the Jiva, because Tat Pravishtaha iti, the deity is entered there. Na kevalam praveshamatram manasthadatm prapta. Tatstha, not only this Paramatma entered the mind, but is identified with the mind. Manchakroshanavata. So, Manchestika. Mancha krosandi tatrayasa mancha shabdena tasthaha balaha lakshande tadvad ityartha. Mancha is a platform or a scaffolding. And so if you visit, if you are walking in the morning in the villages, then you hear variety of sounds and noises where you don't know where the noise is coming from. But then they are shouting and screaming for scaring the birds away. Because early morning the birds land in the fields and have a good feast at the cost of the farmer. So farmer doesn't want that. Therefore he wants to scare away the birds, and therefore he keeps shouting and screaming. You don't see that man. What you see is a scaffolding or a platform. So manchastaha kroshandi. They say that the scaffolding or the platforms are shouting. In fact, the person on the platform or in the scaffolding is shouting. Itha mancha shabdena tastaha balaha lakshante. So by the word mancha or platform is meant the bala, children who are the platform who are shouting. Tadmat. Similarly by the word manaha is meant Brahman or Sat, which is entered there, which is identified with it. Same thing Anandagiri said, Yatha manchakroshanena manchastha devadatto lakshate. Bala or devadatta. Yatha tanmana iti manasasthita jiva lakshyo bhavati. Similarly, like a scaffolding means a person in the scaffolding. Similarly, the mind is meant the deity in the mind. Bhashyakara continues. Sah manakhyopadi jiva avidya kama karmopadishtam disham disham sukha dukkhadi lakshanam jagrat swapnayoho patitva gatva anubhuya ityarthah. Sah mana akhya upade jiva. That jiva is so called because of the upadhi of the called mind. So because upadhi called the mind, that jivatma or paradevata is called jiva. Avidya kama karmopadishtam, prompted by avidya kama karma, ignorance and desire and action. Disham disham patitva gatva anubhuya, going in various directions. What are the directions? Sukha dukkhadi lakshanam, disham disham patitva. Jagrat swapnayoho, in the waking and dream states, this bird, namely jiva, is flying in different directions, meaning seeking variety of experiences. So jiva of course wants freedom. The reason why the jiva is seeking any experience is because he just wants freedom. But why there be sukha dukkha? More dukkha than sukha. So jagrat swapnayoho sukha dukkhadi lakshanam disham disham patitva gatva anubhuya, experiencing them. So the Tika raised a question here. In the line 32, not sanasa but manasa or manaso bahya dikpatane sharir nasapatya bahirgaman asambhavat. So disham disham patitva, that bird is flying out, but mind he cannot fly out like that of the body, because then the body will not be able to sustain life at all, sentiency. So even though the example of bird is given, one may feel that the mind is going out, doesn't go out of the body, but goes out for a variety of experiences. Sukha dukkhadi lakshanam disham. Here different directions are of the nature of pleasure and pain. Then Bhashyakara says further, Anyatra sadakshat swatmanah ayatanam vishramanasthanam alabdhva pranameva pranena sarvakaryakaranashrena upalakshita praniti uchyate sadaksha paradevata. Anyatra ayatanam alabdhva, not finding an abode elsewhere. What is elsewhere? Sadakhyat svatmana anyatra, not finding an abode, not finding a abode for rest other than his own self, which is the nature of sat or existence. Ayatanam vishramana sthanam, looking for a place where he can rest. He can become free from fatigue in the waking state and dream state, but then the jiva does not find a place like that. Alabdhva pranameva. So then, pranameva upashrayate. He comes to prana. So says the Tika, prana shabdena paradevata lakshanayam sambandhamaha. So, how is the word prana? The word prana here it stands for paradevata, the devata, namely Sat or existence or Brahma. So prana, Bhashyakara said, pranayana, prana. So what prana is explained? Pranayana, sarva karya karanashrayana, upalakshita, prana iti uchyate, sadakhya paradevata, prana iti uchyate. So why the word prana? What is meant? So prana shabdena uchyate. What is meant by the word prana is sarva karya karana ashrayana upalakshita sadakhya paradevata prana iti uchyate. That paradevata called Sat, the supreme deity called Sat or Brahma, which is what? Sarva karya karana ashrayana upalakshita. So implied by as the ashraya, the very abode of all the karya and karana for all the body, etc. So the subtle body, the ultimate abode is the self. Ultimate abode which is self is what is meant by the word prana here. Says, how do you say that Atma is the ultimate abode? Karana ashrayana pranayana atma tat prerakattvena tat prakashakatvena cha lakshyate jnayate ityartha. Karana ashrayana as a very ashraya, abode of all the sense organs of the mind. Pranayana atma. So atma, which is ashraya, the ultimate abode for all sense organs, for the mind. Tat prerakattvena tat prakashakatvena cha. Because Atma, the consciousness, is preraka, is the one that impels the organs, sense organs, and tat prakashakatvena, that which illumines them also. Lakshya, therefore, is Atma that is implied by the word prana. Lakshyate jnayate. Pranayana atma lakshyate ityatra shrutimah. That by the word prana is implied the atma or one's own self, there is consciousness. For that, Bhashyakara quotes here again a statement from Bhradharanyaka Upanishad. Says, Pranasya pranam pranashariro bharupah इत्यादि श्रुते है. और आनंद also न केवलम प्रकरणात् प्राण शब्देन परादेवता लक्ष्यते अन्यत्र प्रयोग दर्शनाच्च. So not only here but elsewhere also the same prayoga is there, but prana is used for atma. So Tika says, so pranasya prana means what? Pranasya api prana samarthyam atmanamya vidu. Kenopanishad pranasya prana, but Bhashyakara quotes from Bhradharanyaka, pranasya prana. Vidu, second degree, that's the second case. But pranasya api prana means prana samarthyam. So pranasya prana. Second prana is prana samarthyam. The prana again is samarthya, the ability to be vital force, ability to keep the whole karya sangata alive, impart the life to that, impart the energy to that. So whatever this prana or the vital air is able to do is because of what? So prana samarthyam, atmanam, pranasya prana is atma. So that because of whom or because of which the prana is able to perform its functions. Shrotrasya shrotam. That because of which the organ of hearing is able to perform the function of hearing. Manaso manoyat. That is because of which the mind is able to perform its own function, namely thinking. Vacho vacham. That is because of which speech is able to perform its function. Pranasya prana. Because of which the prana also performs its function. So prana samarthyam, that which imparts to prana the ability to do the prana, meaning ability to provide the life to others. Ye viduhu, so pranasya pranam, ye viduhu, te brahma nischikyu. That's the whole sentence from Bhradharanyaka. So those who know the prana of the prana, they know Brahma. इति उदाहृत श्रुत्यर्थः. Bhashyakara said, Prana Shariro Bharupa, explaining that the Tika says, Prana Sharira iti Prana Sharirat Upadi Tasya ityartha. So Brahman, of which who is Prana Sharira, of which Prana is the Upadi. Prana Shariravat, Prana Sharira, just as Sharira is the Upadi, Prana is the Upadi, therefore it's called Prana Sharira. Bharupa, of the nature of consciousness. Prana Sabdena Paradevata Abhidanam Yuktavid Upasamharan Vakyarthamah. Therefore it is quite proper that by the word Prana is meant Paradevata or the Supreme Deity is quite proper. It Upasamharan Vakyarthamah Ataha. So Bhashyakara says on the page, (258) says, अतः तां देवतां प्राणं प्राणाख्यमेव उपश्रयते. Therefore this mana or this jivatma upashrayate, he resorts to the prana which or atma which is the ultimate abode, which is where one gains the ultimate repose, rest. Says Bhashyakara, so Paradam Phalitam Ahataha iti Prano Bandhanam Yasya Manasaha Tat Prana Bandhanam He Yasmat Soumya Manaha Pranopalakshita Devatashrayam Manaha Devatashrayam Manaha iti Tadupalakshito Jiva iti. So Prana Bandhanam is Soumya Manaha. Prano Bandhanam Yasya Manasa Tat Prana Bandhanam. Prana Bandhanam Yasya. Prana is the Bandhanam, is a place where he is tied. So bandhanam is, badyate asmin is bandhanam. That's how it is explained. Therefore, it is not only bondage, but the place with which the prana is tied. That is prana bandhanam. Which is what? Which is sat, or existence, or the atma. Tat prana hi asma soumya manaha. Because hey soumya, oh good looking one, since prana, the mana is prana bandhanam. Meaning prana upalaksha devatashrayam iti. Because the mana or the jivatma has ultimate ashraya, ultimate abode in Paradevata. And mana heti tad upalakshito jiva. So by the word prana is meant atma, and by the word mana is meant jivatma. So this jivatma's ultimate abode is atma or sat or param brahma. Praname upashrayate vijnanatma ityatra hetumaha. How come the vijnana jivatma ultimately resorts to prana? Because prana bandhanam is tied to prana. But the mind is never away from prana or Brahman. Just as an ornament is tied to gold. Wherever the ornament may fly, seeking fulfillment, ultimately comes back to gold, which is where it is tied. Tied means its true nature. Not that the ornament is tied to gold. A bird is tied to a place, okay. But similarly, ornament cannot be said to be tied to gold, but then gold is the true nature of ornament. Similarly, it's not that the jiva is tied to Brahman. Jiva is like an ornament, Brahman is like gold, so just as gold is the true nature of the ornament, so also Brahman is the true nature of jiva. That's what it meant tied. Mean never apart. In other words, it can never run away from Brahman. Just as a wave cannot run away from water, regardless of what it does. So, Vakyah pranopalakshita devatasya manah iti. Manah sabdena api purva jiva eva lakshadeyat manah iti tadupalakshito jiva iti. Okay. All right. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.